Hello, everyone. I'm Bradley Green. I'm a student here at Ball State University, and this is my audit of MGE Elementary School for EDAD 635. First, going through the slides, I have my contents here, demographics, mission and vision, the glows and grows, and our conclusion. Demographics at MGE, our grade levels are from kindergarten to fifth grade. Enrollment is 755 students. Diversity, we have 65% Caucasian, 19% Asian, 5% African American, 5% Hispanic, and 3% multicultural. And that is just at one of our 6 elementary schools in the district. For mission and vision, MGE's mission is we develop knowledgeable, confident, and responsible citizens through inspirational and innovative learning opportunities. Our vision is the same across the entire school district. All students receive an exceptional educational experience. For GLOWS at MGE, we have a great collaborative culture, commitment to our SEL program, which is our social and emotional learning, and 3, our focus on student-centered learning. To start with our collaborative culture, I had an interview with our assistant principal, initials SF. Going through, assistant principal provided district guidance and expectations for what we need to see in those PLC and PD days. Provided our PLC and PD norms, focusing around collaboration and teachers and the SPED and ENL department. He made it a point to be in grade level meetings each week and including counselors and the SPED teams and anyone that needed to be involved who works with those students. I also had a teacher interview, initials BL. She provided grade level team meeting documents, the PLC team level data that they would go through during their PLC time. And then lastly, I sat in on a grade level meeting to see how they collaborated with one another and how they challenged and how they questioned each other to provide the best educational experience for those students. I was also went through our PLC documents and meetings. One, we have PLC every Tuesday morning for about an hour before school starts. 2, grade level meetings once a week during prep. Each grade level sets a time and sends it to our assistant principal, building coach, anyone that may need to be involved. And we also have our committee meetings. Our committees, we have a leadership, climate and culture team, safety team, and a social committee. And then, second of all, our commitment to our SEL program. I had an interview with our guidance counselor, initials KK. Going with our first, she had student support systems, building systems depending on those students and what they may need. Building relationships with students. They are in the building, they are out at buses, they're in the hallways, they're at lunch, they're at recess, they're anywhere that they might need to be to build some of those relationships with our students. And then 3, we have aligned practices and common language across the school district with our SEL programs. Professional development. The last PD of every month is focused on SEL and is led by our guidance counselors in the building. We are lucky enough to have 2 guidance counselors in our elementary school. And then after school activities, our guidance counselors and our social media teams have game nights. They welcome families, students, anyone that may want to come and be involved and help get to know some of our students and build those lasting relationships. Then we have SEL student lessons, community building time every single day is built by our guidance counselors, and there's 10 minutes in every morning, and we have monthly calendars for those. We have library lessons for students once a month. One guidance counselor takes K2 and 4. The other guidance counselor takes 1, 3, and 5. And then we have easy access to contact our counselors. Our students know that they can get onto Google Classroom or Canvas or a bunch of different ways and request meeting times with our guidance counselor rather than trying to go through us and us get busy and forget to contact or something going on along those lines. And then we have our student-centered learning, a building coach interview, initials LP. They focus on student-centered coaching cycles instead of teaching coaching cycles. Focuses on what those students in that room may need and what we can do to better help them. Diving into the data to focus in on those students, and she will also co-plan and help come into classrooms and co-teach and get involved with all of the instruction in the rooms. And then we have our MTSS system, our multi-tiered systems. We have data team meetings once a month, looking over testing data, anything that we may need to see if we need to identify or get a student into some remediation. We also have data-driven small groups for remediation, and then whole child responses to get into all those students in the room. Then we have our viable curriculum. Our district made it a point over the summer and at the end of the last school year to get our first one aligned curriculum maps. Buildings are doing the same thing across the entire district. We all have small group station times built into our days to work with students one on one in those small groups. And then we also have ownership in their own learning, a reflection piece at the end of every lesson where the students get involved and what they may need, what they already know, anything like that, so they can build upon themselves. And then for MGE, our grows are our discipline practices and the equity, technology integration, and identifying cultural gaps. So for discipline practices, I had a teacher interview, initials LD. She stated that we have inconsistency in disciplinary actions across classrooms. Students go from one classroom to another in fourth and fifth grade, and it is different across all of those classrooms. So we all need to be better about what we want to see and what we are focusing on. We have limited or unclear range of consequences. So one teacher may let it slide, the other one may take it a step further and take points or whatever their class system may be. And then three, we need for more aligned equitable practices, just building all of those and getting everyone on the same page about what we are looking for and what we are going to do in the process of that. And then behavior data. The behavior data is not consistently collected or analyzed. The only behavior data that gets collected is when a teacher puts in a referral. So that's always seems to be the highest step. So that's looks a lot worse. And then two, limited use of that data to guide behavior interventions. That data is looked at as a student is referred. They're just going to go to the office. They're going to have a day of OSS or ISS. And it doesn't do much about finding ways for those students to fix those behaviors or what we can do. And then three, need for more systematic tracking and review. We need to find better ways to put in some of the data of students who might be disruptive or might be doing something else, but is not severe enough to warrant a referral. And then I also met with a focus group of teachers and students. The first one, the focus group feedback indicated inconsistency in actions taken by admin. Again, on the lines of one student may get a slap on the wrist while the other one is getting ISS for similar situations or similar behaviors. And then two, student perceptions of unfairness across classrooms. Students are seeing that they can get away with things in one classroom and then they go to the next one and it's locked down in there. So to be a lot more fair throughout the entire building. One of our other grows is technology integration. I had an interview with our assistant principal again, initials SF. He stated that there's inconsistent use of technology across classrooms, seeing teachers use it, a bunch not, some here and there. And then two, limited integration to enhance student learning. They're not being used correctly to push our students further. And when those students are on their devices are having behavior issues arise because they think they are getting away with more on different tabs and doing other things. And then I also had an interview with our technology specialist, initials JL. She stated that there's limited funds for new resources. So anything that may come up that they think would be a good resource for teachers, they can't get it bought, they can't get a trial for it. And then she also said that there's a lack of in-person time for her and her team to get into these systems and show teachers how to use them correctly and to their full capability. And then variety of teachers not trying the systems. She stated that there has been pushback from some teachers that do not want to use Canvas or don't want to use Classroom or any of the other systems that the district has paid for. And then thirdly, our culture gaps. I spoke with our E&L teacher. Her first thing was there's a large ratio between the E&L teacher and students. On her caseload, she had about 85-1 while she was still training a new teacher for another building in the district. She was getting all of the students, they're all getting acclimated and they're all learning new languages while still trying to maneuver the school and while training another teacher was kind of overwhelming. And then, two, the lack of technology for students who needed translating devices. We have a lot of move ins from overseas where students do not speak primary English, so they need translating devices, and we don't have enough for all of the students. And then data review, limited use of data and the amount of data. Classrooms do not focus on cultural gaps. We've only seen all cultural gaps based on state testing or anything involved in that. So, kind of deep diving into some of those in classrooms to see if there's anything going on. And then the curriculum gaps, examine materials for representation and inclusivity. And then also multiple cultures and perspectives are not reflected. While going through our curriculum and everything, it was geared towards the urban normal lifestyle, which some of these students who do not live, so some of the words and the explanations they were not understanding. And then in conclusion, MGE demonstrates strong collaborative practices, a commitment to social and emotional learning, and a focus on student centered instruction. At the same time, there are important areas for growth, including improving consistency in behavior practices, strengthening technology integration, and better identifying and addressing cultural gaps. By building on our strengths and intentionality, focusing on these areas of growth, we can continue to improve outcomes and ensure an equitable, supportive learning environment for all students. I just want to say thank you for listening for my presentation, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.